Hey there, and welcome back to Mass Effect 3. My name is Pete, and today we complete what is arguably one of the most unique missions in the game. Before we get started, I hope you can forgive that I sound a little bit off today. I am a bit under the weather these last few days, but thankfully the mission is not too long and also won't involve too much talking from me. Now, in the second to last episode, we got ourselves involved in the war between the Quarians and the Geth, and thanks to some Reaper assistance, the Geth currently have the upper hand. However, we did manage to disable a Reaper signal broadcasted from a Geth dreadnought, and that certainly helped, but the tide has of course not turned just yet. And so, after finally locking in our romance with Tali in the last episode, we are getting involved again today, as we have been made aware of a number of Quarian liveships that have come under attack. They are currently pinned down by a Geth fighter squadron, but Legion has revealed to us a way to take those fighters out if we shut down a Geth server on Rannoch. And so, our adventure today takes us to the Quarian homeworld as we begin the first of two missions that will eventually lead us to the big main mission for the Quarian plotline, but more on that in due time. For now, we can pick our squad, and Legion did already mention that he wants to come along. Still, we can pick two more squad members here, indicating that Legion will play more of a supportive role. And who we choose does not matter in the slightest, but I like Edie and Tali for Geth missions, so let's take them. We also don't need to pick any weapons or powers for this one, so we can instead jump right into the action.
Commander, it is as we feared. Geth Squadrons have begun massing on a path to intercept our live ships.
Understood, Admiral Ron. We're almost at the server. Keep us posted. What's our status?
We remain undetected on encrypted Geth channels. Resistance is likely only within the server.
Within? It's that big?
You misunderstand. Direct virtual interface is necessary to extract Geth from the server. You must enter our consensus.
You want me to virtually interact with the Geth?
That's insane! You're talking about a virtual world built for synthetics. Hostile Geth synthetics.
I'm not a machine. How do I go into a virtual world?
Your species has experimented with virtual interfaces. You saw this on Project Overlord.
I saw how it almost unleashed a rogue AI-human hybrid on the galaxy.
We have refined the interface they created and have equipment from Normandy to facilitate safe contact. We request your trust.
Now, we can obtain a few morality points at the beginning of the mission here, and so far Legion has not betrayed our trust, so even though he is asking for a lot, let's play along here for 2 Paragon points.
I have your back, Legion, even if I don't quite understand why you need it.
You are an unknown. This is an advantage. Geth security is not adept at targeting organic thought processes. While we occupy the system's intrusion countermeasures, you will disable the Squadrons by removing Geth from the server.
And 2 more easy Paragon points can now be obtained if we simply agree with the plan. All in all, both options here don't change the conversation too much, so this is purely a matter of personal preference.
If it saves the live ships, we've got to try it.
Telemetry data predicts this operation has a high chance of success. There is little time. We will bypass security while you secure safe landing.
Wait, you're not going to... Let's set the shuttle down by the cliff. This is it?
Yes. Hostile Geth fighter squadrons are networked to this server. Due to restricted resources, it is best if you connect alone.
Let's do it.
Initiating peer network integration. Proceed to docking port. Mapping to consensus. Remain still. Shepard Commander, excess movement during an upload is discouraged. Shepard Commander, we acknowledge your integration into this server. We welcome you to our consensus.
What is this?
We've installed filters to allow you to make visual sense of this server's raw data. Your mind perceives our world as something familiar.
I wouldn't call this familiar. Where are you?
Here,
You look different.
we have made ourselves visually distinct for your convenience.
What about Geth already in here?
You will perceive Geth as surveillance footage, audio logs, sensor records. We do not require bodies, as our software communes. Our hardware is merely a tool. This is our true world. As we remove Geth, it will grow dark.
And what does turning off the lights do to the Geth back in the real world?
The Geth fighter squadrons communicate with platforms on their spacecraft via this server. We will sever that connection. We will ensure there are no transfers or backups. This server will fall silent.
Alright, welcome to Geth VR, I guess. And before we start exploring, let's grab the final 2 Paragon points for now by voicing our concern about disabling all of those Geth units.
This is like wiping out a city, isn't it?
We have no choice in this matter. It is a question of survival. There are 2 communication nodes on this server. We must access them to disable the hostile Geth's fighters. We must protect your exit port, but you will not be alone. We will maintain contact and assist. Establishing connection to access point.
So, welcome to what I think is probably the most unique mission in the game, as it differs drastically from any other environment that is presented to us. All in all, this mission is basically one big puzzle. Its core mechanic will be explained to us by Legion in just a
Warning.
second.
Connection blocked by infected code. Use our combat software to disrupt the infection.
I wondered what the gun was for.
This foreign code is a manifestation of the old machine signal.
You're surprised the Reapers are all over your servers?
We did not anticipate such extensive infection.
Okay, I've got to ask. Why a gun?
We wish to provide familiar equipment.
Then thanks, I think.
So, I think it has become clear what we need to do here. Whenever we encounter some of these orange fragments in front of us, we need to use the gun we have been given to destroy them, which then clears the path onwards. That gun can of course only be used on this mission and regenerates its ammunition automatically after a few seconds, so there is really not too much for us to pay attention to right now. All in all, this first section here serves as a bit of a tutorial, and things will get a bit more interesting shortly.
Connection established. Proceed to the access point. Establishing connection to communication node. Error. Access denied.
Is the Reaper keeping you out?
Unknown. Please investigate.
And so the plot thickens. Looks like we will have to do a bit more than just clearing ourselves a path here.
Warning. Reaper presence detected. Data cluster contains infected code. We require access to proceed.
And over here we can find some Reaper code to take with us. Very well hidden, however, so it's easy to miss.
Reaper code fragment. Let's see if I can take it along with me.
Now here you can already see where this is going. These code fragments are connected to a large, somewhat round structure in the middle, and as we move forward through the area, we can sever those connections. That big thing in the middle is a data cluster, and it has 3 of these connection points in total, so let's see what happens if we disrupt all of them.
We cannot proceed until we gain access to this data cluster.
Now this here will be our way onwards in just a moment, but for now let's take care of that last connection.
Accessing data cluster.
What is this?
Data clusters contain historical data. Your connection permits streaming of information from our archives.
You really want to rename the VI networks?
Absolutely. The mobile hardware release deserves a little ceremony. Unit 01. What is the Keelish word for servant of the people?
The word is Geth, Creator Javik.
Yes. Very good.
Ancestors, you fuss over it.
Weren't you here until midnight fixing 01's circuitry?
Well, it needed resoldering.
Wasn't that footage from the past? Why are the Quarians masked?
You process our memories by using your own. How many creators have you witnessed unmasked?
Well, 1.
Then your perception of that creator does not map to our historical data. You must disrupt the infection on this data cluster to continue.
Now we have another data cluster ahead of us, and after seeing what the first one contained, I think it's safe to say that we will learn more about the relationship between the Quarians and the Geth from this one as well. In that sense, this mission is a nice glimpse into the history of the Geth and their creators, covering a lot of aspects that have not yet been revealed anywhere else in the series.
This data cluster contains information time-stamped 290 years ago. It is still capable of survey.
You see? It's ignoring all shutdown connects.
Please specify if it has failed assigned tasks. We will reprogram.
Well, let's take a look.
Creator, this unit is ready to serve. What has it done wrong?
Let's cut the audio.
You may proceed to the last data cluster.
And thankfully for this one, we do not need to shoot any more code fragments.
Accessing data cluster.
We've got to skip Geth! They're pinned!
Open fire.
One's going for a weapon!
So who won?
The platform arming itself was an agricultural unit. By opening fire on attacking creators, it saved simpler domestic Geth following it.
That looks a lot like the sniper rifle you used to carry.
It is an efficient model. Establishing connection with the remaining server node.
And that would be this part of the mission completed, but surprise, surprise, we are not done here just yet.
Hello, Commander. Are you there?
Have you come under attack, Admiral Ron?
The Geth Squadrons have arrived, but something is amiss. Half their fighters have stopped functioning. We will continue to hold out as long as we can.
Legion, give me an update.
One node remains.
What's wrong?
Infection programs are increasing. We have restabilized. You must continue. Shepard Commander, the Reaper code has adapted. It can now self-replicate.
You mean it grows back?
Yes. However, disrupting vulnerable points in the infection may slow down its replication.
Okay, so things are getting a bit more complicated as we begin this next section of the mission. The Reaper code can now replicate, which means in order to sever certain connections, we need to take out other pieces of code in the vicinity first. Those pieces can usually be found by simply following the strain that you want to destroy, although you can also play it safe and take a more straightforward approach by simply shooting at every orange code fragment in reach.
We require access to this data cluster. Disrupt Reaper infection to proceed. Shepard Commander, target the vulnerable points of the infection to slow its replication speed.
And so we are yet again trying to destroy the code fragments that have latched onto the next data cluster, only this time with the additional challenge of not being able to just blast them away that easily. This is the point where the mission becomes a bit more of a puzzle, because it is sometimes not that easy to locate the spots that you have to target first before you can hit the data cluster, but all in all, since they are still glowing in bright orange and it's pretty easy to gauge what's in reach and what isn't, I would say a little trial and error should get you to the data cluster pretty easily.
Accessing data.
Out of the way!
You can't do this to them!
I said step away from the Geth!
This is insane! We need the Geth! You can't just destroy them for asking.
Time's up! Throw her in with the others.
Looks like the war wasn't popular with everyone.
We have kept records of these creators' sacrifices. They have largely been forgotten by their own people, but not by the Geth.
Now, from all that we have seen so far, the origins of the Geth and their uprising against the Quarians do not exactly match what we have been told in the Quarian stories. On the contrary, it definitely seems like at least some of the Quarians took a very drastic approach to the Geth's existential questions, and in doing so, perhaps even caused the conflict to spiral out of control in the first place. In any case, this is definitely a vital piece of info to help understand the history of the Quarians and the Geth, as it paints both factions in a much different light than what we have come to learn so far.
We cannot establish a connection without access to this data cluster.
And once more, another data cluster needs to be freed. By this point, we know what to do.
You must search for a vulnerable point in the infection. Disrupting it will slow the infection's ability to replicate.
This is also where you can see me struggle a bit with the puzzle, which is part of the reason why I don't really love this mission, as its difficulty stems more from the level being somewhat disorienting, and not so much from being overly complicated.
There is a vulnerable point further along the infection. Target this spot to slow its growth toward the data cluster.
So, all in all, I have to say, despite its uniqueness, I'm not the biggest fan of this mission. Yes, it adds a pretty substantial amount of info about the Geth and the Quarians, which keeps things interesting, but I'm simply not much of a fan of being forced to solve puzzles during an action RPG, especially if they're more on the tedious side.
New data found. This data comes from a period during which the creators declared martial law.
Come out of the safe house. This is your final warning.
Creator Megara, this unit does not understand. It has not taken part in hostilities.
It doesn't matter to them. I need to get you out of here.
This conflict exceeds Creator safety parameters. We will surrender our hardware if it ends hostilities.
No, it's all right. We'll go back to the access tunnel then. Oh!
Creator Megara, what is your status? Creator Megara. As time passed, the creators who opposed martial law in Rannoch were ultimately outnumbered.
And so here we are, the last infected data cluster has been cleaned, and we are actually about to end the mission very shortly. So far, we have uncovered a tremendous amount of new information that will definitely paint the Quarians' war on the Geth in a different picture. And yes, we did also take out that Geth fighter squadron in the process, although that seemed more of an afterthought at times.
Accessing data. This is data from the end of warfare on Rannoch.
The outpost is down. Do not engage the Geth. I repeat, avoid contact.
Geth pursuit is breaking off 100 clicks past Rannoch. All captains fall back to the mass relay.
This isn't happening now?
It is timestamped 290 years ago. It is the Creator Exodus at the end of the Morning War. We have secured freedom. The Creators were no longer a threat, so we abandoned pursuit.
Wait. The Geth spared the last Quarians? You let them go.
We were in our infancy. We could not calculate the repercussions of destroying an entire species. Our creators. We chose isolation rather than face this uncertainty. Additional data recovered.
Legion? That's back when I activated you on the Normandy.
Yes.
You've been thinking about when we met?
It was highly significant. You were the first organic to openly cooperate with Geth since the end of the Morning War. We wish to ensure you are not the last.
It's not gonna be easy.
The prospect remains. If the Reaper presence is removed, there is a chance of reunification with Geth, and perhaps creators.
You think that's still possible?
Hope sustains organics during periods of difficulty. We admire the concept. Connection with the remaining server node established. We are ready to transport you.
Something's happening to the Geth. The fighter squadrons have stopped. We detect no more active programs inside their ships. Admiral Hangarl's fleet is driving them back. The live ships are safe, Commander.
Route access acquired, severing all connections to this communication node. Geth no longer reside on this server. We may now exit the consensus.
What's wrong?
You must proceed to the active core and disconnect from the server. Terminating remote access. Removing programs. Deleting archives.
Shepard, how do you feel?
Did it work?
Geth fighters have been disabled. Any remaining squadrons attacking the live ships have withdrawn. The server is offline.
Are you sure? What's happening?
We have transferred Geth programs from the server into these platforms.
Why?
They wish to join us.
They what?
While Shepard Commander removed the Reaper infection, we judged we could persuade hostile Geth programs to reunite with ours. We were correct. These Geth have renounced the old machines and will oppose the Reapers. They are now us.
Why didn't you tell me any of this?
We did not doubt you. We doubted your allies. The Creator's actions have placed their species in danger, but they are unsympathetic to what it has done to ours. The Quarians sanctioned this operation to save their people. They would not have done so if they knew we wished to preserve Geth as well.
And yes, I think we can in fact sympathize with that notion, especially after what we just learned, so let's go with the option at the top here for 2 more Paragon points.
I understand not wanting to leave anyone behind.
You accept our actions?
The live ships are safe and we have more Geth on our side. We both did what we came to do.
We judged you would understand. Prime units will be available once the Reaper signal has been located and destroyed.
Remind me to warn Admiral Hackett he's got some primes coming. Let's get back to the Normandy.
Impressive, Commander. The Geth squadrons attacking our live ships have been completely neutralized. If there is any chance we could duplicate the feat, I would be happy to lend my expertise.
Legion's the one to ask if you're looking for other servers.
I thought as much, but your Geth claims to have no data available whenever I inquire. Perhaps you can help me with something else.
What's that?
How did you get Geth primes to work with you?
They volunteered.
I see. Well, should you wish to examine these Geth to confirm their new allegiance, please do not hesitate to contact me. Zen out. Commander, we've located the Reaper base transmitting the local signal.
Good.
And not a moment too soon. With the Reaper code upgrades, the Geth are tearing the fleet apart.
Once the signal is disabled, the Geth will pose no threat to Creator forces.
You sound conflicted.
While the old machines have unethical purposes, their upgrades have vastly improved our people. Observe.
A Geth processing signal. A single unit, I believe.
Correct. Now, 10 nearby units networked cooperatively. Now, a single Geth unit with the old machine upgrades.
That's a fully evolved AI.
Yes, we do not agree with the goals of the old machines, but we find this growth beautiful, indicative of life.
And again, Legion does have a point here in my opinion. By now we know that the Geth can be so much more than just machines, and agreeing with him here earns us 2 more Paragon points as well.
It is.
Commander!
I witnessed their history, Admiral. The Reapers sped up the process, but the Geth were always moving this way.
And they will die when we destroy the base.
They allied with the Reapers.
To save themselves from you.
Now, here we have to make one last morality choice, and even though the Renegade option would also unlock a Renegade interruption for even more points, I just don't think that that's the conclusion we can reach after this mission, as well as the current conversation.
Maybe they don't have to die. After what I saw on that server, I don't know. Maybe there's another option.
Commander, are you suggesting...
I'm not suggesting anything. All I'm saying is, maybe they don't all have to die.
It's a moot point until we take out that base. The surrounding area is heavily fortified, and they have placed jamming towers to prevent orbital targeting.
Sounds like we're going in on foot.
Admiral Zen developed a laser guidance system that can cut through the jamming. It's synced to the Normandy's targeting computer.
So the Normandy launches a precision strike at whatever target I have painted. That ought to do it. Edie, this work for you?
Yes, it should enable us to make a precision strike against the Reapers.
And anything else in our way?
The Geth will quickly reconfigure their jamming towers to neutralize this technology. You should not use it before reaching the base.
I've sent the coordinates for the Reaper base.
Are we clear to go?
We still haven't gotten a rescue ship to Admiral Kurz.
Can he wait?
We're suffering heavy civilian casualties without him there to organize them. But we'll do what we can. This is your operation, Commander. If you want to strike now, you've got my support. I gave in to your reckless behavior beforehand. The patrol fleet isn't moving.
We need to break their flanking attempt to buy our frigates time to make repairs.
And then you'll charge off again, like last time.
This is different, Ron. Unless we give our ships time to rest, we're gonna lose them.
So pull them back.
If I withdraw now, the Geth will flank us, and we'll lose any room to maneuver. I need the patrol fleet.
Admiral Gerald is right. Withdrawing now puts the whole fleet at risk.
As you say, Commander. All right, Han. You've got your ships.
Thank you, Ron. You'll get them back in good condition.
And for a change, we are agreeing with Admiral Gerald here to strengthen our war assets, while agreeing with Ron would have weakened them. We can still talk to Ron, however, so let's hear what she has to say.
The data you forwarded about the Geth was disturbing. It doesn't match the stories we tell.
And indeed it doesn't, which now begs the question whether or not the Quarians think differently about launching the current attack on the Geth.
Having second thoughts about the Geth?
Admirals don't have the luxury of second thoughts. What do you need?
I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you, Commander.
Alright, no morality points this time, so let's keep going and talk to Legion next for a quick update on the mission's aftermath.
Shepard, Commander, we have re-established a connection with Geth liberated from the server.
What's their status?
We have integrated their programs into this platform's network with minimal difficulties. Your actions have changed their perspective on organics. They also offer gratitude.
We'll talk later.
We will remain here.
And finally, we can also get a few words out of Tali.
I'm ready to hit the Reaper base whenever you are, Shepard.
Talk to you later, Tali.
Sure.
So here we are, technically ready to begin the Quarian main mission, if you will, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I just figured you'd be more sympathetic to someone joining Cerberus. You've never been big on aliens.
Yeah, I enlisted to kick ass just like everyone else. But I need a better reason than it has scales to go kill somebody. And if Cerberus is taking our dishonorable discharges and Cat-6 washouts, that's just one more reason they're not worth a damn.
Unread messages at your private terminal, Commander.
The Allied Primes are relaying any hostile combat data they can decrypt. I never thought I'd be linking Geth into the system.
Yep, strange times indeed, but then again we are attacked by Reapers, so I guess nothing's really off the table. And that includes a bit of humor, so let's head over to the cockpit for a moment.
Man, watching the Geth fleet move, it's like thousands of stunt flyers in formation. Creepy stunt flyers, whose ships look like some sort of cockroach wasp thing. So you went into the Geth consensus? Like virtual reality?
Yeah, it was strange, but I got out all right.
Did you? I mean, how would you know?
How would I know what?
If you really got out. See, if the Geth experience everything virtually, then you could only think you're in the real world. What if this, like everything you're seeing now, is a simulation?
Shepard, you are now possibly the only living organic who has experienced the Geth consensus. Do you feel different?
It was fascinating. Mind-blowing. And I'm also a bit thirsty.
And just like that, the magic is gone.
Did you just say what I think you said?
No.
And one more reason why I think it's nice to give Edie some first-hand experience with the Geth during this mission, even though her voice lines were a bit all over the place, sometimes spoken by her body, sometimes coming over the comm channels. In any case, we now have 2 messages to read, with the first one coming from, well, the Geth it seems, more specifically those primes we just allied with, who provide us with the update that while there seem to be other primes willing to assist, they are currently not able to physically leave Rannoch until we deal with the creator forces, so it looks like we'll have to solve the war first before we can fully make use of them. Message number 2 is then a follow-up from Miranda, who we last spoke to on the Citadel, where she informed us of her father's dealings with the Elusive Man, and that those dealings possibly involve her sister Oriana. Now it looks like Miranda has news for us, so next time we head to the Citadel we will want to meet up with her. For now though, we can head down to the crew deck to get a few more lines from a few select individuals, starting with Caden in the Starboard Observatory.
What the hell, Shepard? What just happened? Actually, don't tell me. I've got work to do and I can't be distracted.
I was plugged into the virtual world of the Geth consensus. Saw their history, purged a Reaper infection.
Crap! Now I'll be obsessing about how that works, instead of doing my Spectre Division expense report.
You're welcome.
You know, entering the Geth consensus is gonna be the best chapter in your autobiography.
Alright, following that, we can now get ready for another unique conversation, as James and Javik have ran into each other in the Normandy's kitchen.
So, Prothean, huh?
Yes.
You guys like to drink, booze it up?
No.
Okay. What about gambling? Play cards?
Games of chance were punishable by death in the Empire.
Oh, sure. That seems reasonable. Okay. So, smoking. You ever do that?
Only when my armor became inflamed.
Right. Yeah, smoking. I get it. So jokes then. You got jokes, all right. You got any good ones?
No. Yes.
Give them to me.
The Tulomorian spy entered the enemy's camp and said to the Vanksher, I didn't know your parnaps could glow. That was the joke.
All right. I get it. Yeah, that was a good one.
No, it wasn't. I just made it up. The joke is now on you, human. You will believe anything. You took a great risk in allowing a machine access to your mind, Commander. What if they had infected you? I do not think this James soldier understands me. None of these cycles seem to understand me, and I do not care.
Hey, Commander.
James, what are you up to?
A little cooking, hope you don't mind. I was craving some of my abuela's huevos rancheros. Not sure what kind of eggs these are, but they seem to work. Not as good as my abuela's, but best thing I've had since I got on board. And maybe it's best I don't know what kind of eggs these are, no?
And another great example here why Javik should be visited as often as possible.
This platform can be of some assistance, Garrus Vicarian.
I appreciate the offer, Legion, but this is something I know a thing or two about.
Telemetry data indicates the calibration of Normandy's weapon accuracy can be improved by 0.32%.
That's all? You can't squeeze 0.34% out of it?
Negative. That threshold is not possible.
You sure? Take a look now.
Scanning. Normandy's weapon systems have been improved by a margin of 0.43%. How did you accomplish this?
A little secret we organics like to keep. Always hold some back for emergencies.
Is our current situation an emergency?
A Geth meddling with our computers, telling me how to do my job? No, I can't imagine that would qualify. So, a virtual Geth reality, huh, Shepard? There are a lot of ways I can think of getting a few kicks in this universe. That's not one of them.
And admittedly, I'm not sure if we really got a kick out of it, but it was certainly a unique experience. Moving on, we now have to visit Liara as well, and this could get awkward.
I had hoped the Geth would have analyzed any Prothean technology they came across. You're saying you found none?
No. On this topic, our knowledge is not significantly greater than your own.
That's too bad, but thank you for looking.
Shepard Commander placed faith in us. We will do the same for Normandy.
You mean the Normandy's crew?
We do not see a meaningful distinction.
Now we have obtained 2 more pieces of intel that we can now turn into something useful for Shepard, starting with the improved Geth resistors. Using these, we can obtain a shield bonus or an increase to power damage, and because this also still applies to fire explosions, we are going with the power damage bonus here. With the miniaturized armor capacitors, we can then once again choose between shields and powers, only this time we get a cooldown bonus for both, and again we are picking powers here to further speed up our recharge rate. And now that that's taken care of, let's talk to a not-so-amused Liara.
Shepard, I know you've gone back to Tali.
Liara,
Be with whoever you want to be with. I'm just not interested in playing games anymore. Really, I don't believe either of us has the time. I've got quite a bit to coordinate with my agents. If you want to talk, it has to be later.
Greetings, Commander.
And yes indeed, even though we did not technically lock into a romance with Liara, she is understandably not too happy about our decision to go steady with Tali, especially since we were rather inviting with Liara during the first act of the game before we brought Tali back. Still, I think it's best that we got this conversation out of the way now instead of avoiding her for the rest of the game. And for today, after all the important people from engineering and the shuttle bay have already been talked to on the crew deck, we have also reached the end of the episode. So with another achievement unlocked and with my voice properly exhausted now, I think it's time we make the cut. If you enjoyed the video, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up, and as always, if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.